Hi everybody. I received a request to make a video which showed how to very quickly change the color of a button when you hover your mouse over it. So what I have here is the last animation that I posted, which is basically basic buttons 2. So I'm just going to run it to let you see that exactly what it's doing at the moment. So I've got a red button. Now when I hover the mouse over it, I get the little hand symbol, but it doesn't change color. I click on it, it brings me to a frame which has a green button. I click on it, it brings me back. So that's what it's doing at the moment. Now what I wanted to do when I hover the mouse is have it change color, and it's actually very quite simple. But what I've done is I've put a layer in here called text, and I'm going to add two pieces of text to clarify what I'm doing. So in this first frame, I'm going to drag out a little text box. I'm going to, at the moment this button is red, so I'm going to call this piece of text red to green. Now ignore the fact that it's, we'll tell you what we'll do, we'll actually make it white. We don't want to confuse people like that. Okay, so there we go. So we have one there hovering above that called red to green. I'm going to copy that and go into my green button, and then I'm going to call this one, I'm going to edit this, and I'm going to call this green to red. Okay, so there we go. So we have our two pieces of text hovering above them, so we know what we want them to do. So let's go back to our first frame and click on our button. Now we want this button to change from red to green when we hover over it. Okay, so if I double click on the button, look what happens. The rest of the screen grays out and I'm just seeing the button. Now up here, look, I'm inside scene 1, inside button 1. I'm going to click back on scene and you'll see that I'm just in scene 1. So when I double click this, I'm going inside the button. Now look inside here and see what we have. We've got 4 frames initially. We've got, that one's obscured, it says up, over, down and hit. Now up is the frame of the button when it's completely untouched. Over is how we want it to look when we hover over it. Down is how it looks when we want when we click on it, and then hit just refers to the actual hit area. By default, the hit area is always the size of the image of the text, but we could make that much bigger, or we could move the hit frame to somewhere else completely. So when we hovered over the Stillorgan logo, the button changed color. But we're just going to change the color on this. So all we do is this. If I right click in the over frame and insert a blank keyframe, oh pardon me, sorry. If I right click in the over frame and insert a keyframe, it gives me an identical keyframe. Okay, so it just puts another copy of the red button there. But what I can now do is I can right click on that image and go swap bitmap, and it is essentially still an image. And if I choose swap bitmap and choose a different picture, now what happens is when we hover over it, and whatever's in this frame is governed by when we hover over it, it will change color. Okay, now let's go back up to scene 1 and run that and see what happens. Okay, so when I hover the mouse over this, it should change green. And there we go. So all that's happened is I've now put an instruction in that there's 2 frames. One frame when it's up, unhovered let's say, and the other frame when it's over. So when the mouse is over that image, it shows that second frame. Okay, so that's fair enough. So let's go and do our second one. So we click in here. So this one is starting out as being green. So I click on it, double click, and we go on inside, and you can see again we're inside button 2. I insert a keyframe into the over frame, and then I right click on the button and go swap bitmap, and this time I'm going to swap it out with the red one. Okay, so now when we hover over this, it goes red. Okay, so let's run this. We'll go back to our main scene and we'll run this and see what happens. So I'm on the very first frame here, frame 1, and I've got a label there red to green. So when I hover over it, it goes green. If I click on it and take the mouse away, I'm now on the green frame, and when I hover over it, it goes red. Click on it, it brings me back to the first frame again. So I haven't had to insert any code, I haven't had to do anything too complicated. I've gone inside the button, I've created a keyframe which copies the previous frame, and that is important. If I'd put a blank keyframe in and tried to drag in the red picture, I would have had a problem aligning them, and I would have had to have adjusted coordinates and things like that, or used the onion skinner. But so the easiest way to do it is just make a new keyframe, and then swap the keyframe out, swap that image out with another image, which in this case happens to be exactly the same size, but a different color. So that's it, essentially. Now, any problems with that, let me know. What I've decided to do is do a large tutorial on this in general on in next week's class. So we'll be doing a lot of this and stuff like this, like we'll be building tweens into them and all sorts of stuff. So that's coming. But any questions, just let me know.